am Rhea.
And I'm Brandon.
And you're watching
More Love with R and B.
And today we are in Myrtle Beach,
South Carolina to be exact.
Yeah, and we have taken a family trip with our kids.
Yes, indeed.
And so while we're having fun, we wanted to just stop and take a break and talk to you guys about something that we feel is very important.
Yes, and that thing is, we feel like if you are made aware of any kind of events that are marriage related, you should go.
Absolutely.
Whatever it is, with discretion. But if you hear of like marriage date nights in your area, there are some organizations that throw adult proms and stuff like that, like marriage conferences. We just went to a marriage conference. If you hear of a marriage conference in your area, you should go.
Yeah.
Now I know a lot of you guys might be thinking, marriage conferences, those are done by churches and we're not Christians, and okay, that's fine. You should still go.
Yeah.
You're still married and they're still going to talk about married couple things.
Yeah, so we went to a marriage conference just recently. It was held at our church, but a lot of the things they talked about was just so practical. And there was like, sometimes we think like, oh, we're good, we know our problems and we know how to deal with them, and so we're good. We don't need any help, or we're going through stuff in our marriage, but we're seeing a marriage counselor, so we're good. We don't need to go.
Right.
But it was crazy how in this marriage conference there were so many other couples that were going through the same thing that we're going through.
I feel like that happens all the time.
Yeah, and just the peace, like, okay, so I'm not alone in this. Like, I'm not crazy to feel this way. Or there are other husbands that are going through the same things that he's going through. And I see that and I'm like, oh, so maybe I need to think about how I should respond to my husband, because apparently most men go through these types of things, and I should be maybe more, what's the word I want to say?
Aware.
More aware, or just like more sensitive to the fact that maybe this is a male issue. It's not just a him issue,
Right. So I think too, it's really good for men to go, because a lot of times men can be the ones who kind of go, no, we're good, we'll figure it out. And men are the type of creatures that are like, I don't need help, I will figure this out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like, any kind of long-term issues that you're having in your marriage, you haven't figured it out. You know why? Because it's a long-term issue already. Like, you haven't figured it out.
Yeah.
And so sometimes it's good to actually just go and listen to other people. And again, you might hear that someone else is going through the same thing, or someone has gone through the same thing.
Absolutely.
So we never feel like, no couple has arrived. No couple has gotten to the place where they are perfectly 100% good with no issues. They're functioning on all cylinders with no problems. No couple is that way.
Yeah. I also think that couples who are looking to get married should go. The conference that we went to was open to not only married couples, but also seriously dating couples and engaged couples. And it's so that you can hear what other couples are going through, so that you like not just one couple where you just sit, or just a premarital counseling session where you're just sitting with like one person, but you're sitting with like several couples who can talk about like, hey, we went through this at this stage of our marriage, or that stage of our marriage, and you guys can be on the lookout for that. Also, if you're a married couple, like maybe you haven't had kids, or maybe you have kids but you haven't experienced the empty nest and all this other stuff, you can sit with other couples who are in different stages of their relationship, and you can glean from them. So I mean, there were sessions where like you're sitting, all the couples are sitting and they're listening to a speaker, but then after that there's question time, there's like mingling where you can talk to other couples about what you heard. And I feel like that's where the bulk of the information that I need is given, like in that talking to other people.
Yeah, and I think it's really good that you can learn a lot about other folks and other people that are going through stuff. But the funny thing is, you learn a lot about yourself as well. A marriage conference specifically, we'll talk about marriage conferences, specifically about marriage conferences, those are times where you get to see a lot of yourself and hear a lot of yourself and your spouse in other people. because that's the place where you realize, like, yo, like, we're not alone in this thing. And it's very encouraging. Sometimes even when we go somewhere to like a marriage conference, even if we don't leave feeling, oh, I'm so refreshed and I have a new outlook on marriage, we still walk away with something.
Yeah.
There's never a time where we attend anything that has anything to do with marriage that we don't walk away, that like we always walk away with something new, something that we can actually use, something we can actually work on.
Even if it's just validation that, hey, we're on the right track. Like everything that we're doing, it has been validated that we are doing what's right. And so we can continue on strong. So, yeah.
So one of the things that, and the last thing we'll say this, a lot of times we catch ourselves in what we like to call like the slow fade, where you may be functioning on all cylinders for a while, and then all of a sudden, you know, you start kind of fading out. You know, you're snapping at each other more. Your arguments are lasting longer. You're going overnight and going to bed angry and all that stuff. And now all of a sudden you're like, how many married couples out there say this particular phrase? How did we get here?
Yeah.
A lot of times that's a result of the slow fade, because you are functioning so long thinking that everything's okay, and then all of a sudden you feel like, how did we get to this place? A lot of times going to a marriage conference helps you realize that you are good, but here's some things to keep watch for.
Absolutely.
So that you don't go on that decline.
Absolutely. So if you know of any marriage groups, marriage conferences, marriage date nights, marriage anything where you can get together with several couples, not just one, even though we do believe in marriage community and we have videos about that.
We absolutely do.
But if there's any way where you can get, even if it's like, oh, I'm not a Christian, but you're still dealing with other married couples. So if you hear of anything in your area that you may want to go to, that you and your spouse both feel comfortable attending, we definitely encourage you to go. If you are interested in a couple of the sessions that we heard, we will have a link in the description below where you can hear some of the main sessions that was talked about, which is definitely, we talked about oneness and marriage and how to bring the differences together and how we can be one, and kind of the complications that oneness can bring from a female perspective and from a male perspective. So if you are interested in that, we will have a link below where you can click and listen to the session that we listened to.
That's right. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And don't forget to subscribe if this is your first time. Welcome.
Yeah.
And please leave a comment. If you've been to any marriage conferences, please leave a comment and let us know about those marriage conferences.
Yeah, what did you learn from this conference?
What did you learn? Doesn't matter what state you're in. We want to hear about them. People do sometimes travel across different states to get to really good marriage conferences. So if you know about those, please drop their links in the comments so we can know about them too.
Oh yeah, please do.
Yep.
Thank you so much for watching.
We'll see you guys.
Bye.